how to take over the world with the strategy of war, both by waging and by opening up. Let me tell you, the nature of wars that happen in this world is that if you just let them keep going and getting worse and worse, eventually people will get used to it and the market will recover on its own. There won't be much room left to open positions and make profits. So what's different about today's war strategy is don't let things just keep getting worse and worse. Make it exciting. Make it like, whoa, sometimes you close, sometimes you open, keep mixing it up. That way, it creates opportunities for making positions, right? But honestly, most people already know what's going on. They know why this is being done. But the real way to take over the world in 2026, which is happening right now, let me tell you, it's not just about squeezing through economic and financial means. It's not just about squeezing a little. It's about squeezing so hard that people literally can't live without it. That means creating real shortages of energy and food. In this video, I'm going to explain why you shouldn't let the numbers in these open and close war strategies fool you. And I'll tell you, once you watch this video, you'll immediately understand that the usual ways that most people look for information might not actually give you the real truth. Sponsored by this clip. You can help take over the world with the guerrilla warfare strategies from Psy Money Monster channel by scanning this QR code. Or if you want to support the Psy Money Monster channel, it's super easy. Just hit like, share, or leave a comment to chat with us. And if you think it's useful, the thing I'd love most is for you to subscribe. So when I upload the next clip, we can meet again. Sound good? Thank you. At this very moment, as I'm releasing this clip, I honestly have no idea what the market will be like or what the situation will be today. But on the day I made this clip, wow, the US market was all green, hitting an all-time high. That's because the US announced that there would be no lockdowns, and Donald Trump said, just open up, let the hormones flow, no more shutting things down. And when I searched Google for Brent crude oil prices, you could see right away, oh, the oil prices have dropped. Oh, they're opening up the economy. I'm so happy. It looks like everyone is going to make it. Yay! But as soon as the weekend hit, we all had to gas together because, darn it, the Hormuz Strait is closed again. If you look at this map, you can see that a lot of ships are being denied passage through the Strait of Hormuz, just like before. And this whole situation, where ships can't get through Hormuz, is basically blocking energy from passing through one of the world's main routes, right? What's more, this is happening almost at the same time as there are pipelines for gas and oil all over the world. Explosions that are called accidents, and most of the time they're just local news stories, like, oh, some kind of accident happened, and then the story just disappears. These energy pipelines, they've been exploding since 2025, one after another. And it's not just in Iran or Venezuela, but all over the world. Like I said, it's always blamed on some city accident or whatever, just local news, and then it fades away. So both of these incidents that I just talked about are basically examples of how energy isn't being allowed to flow freely in the system. Maybe it's because someone is controlling it, or maybe it's just a coincidence or an accident. Who knows, right? But if you look at the big picture, most people would probably think, it's probably because of America, since America started the war with Iran. There's always this question like, oh, is there some kind of restriction or blockade? If things are like this in the world, doesn't America get affected too? Honestly, if you really look at their numbers, America might actually be affected. You can see it from these figures. People think that if oil doesn't flow through America, they'll be able to sell oil for a lot of money for sure, because everyone thinks America is an oil exporter, right? And that's not wrong, because on any given day, America exports about 4 million barrels. But on the other hand, the United States imports over 6 million barrels of oil per day. So in reality, the US is a net importer by about 2 million barrels a day. America imports oil too. But if you ask how the US benefits right now, Honestly, if we're talking about US national security, I'll talk more about that in this video as well. It's a topic about America, China, and things like that. But if we look at it simply, this year, I don't really know how America benefits, but President Donald Trump's son, at this moment, has a 100% win rate and is the best trader in the world. Or take a look at this. Before Donald Trump makes any announcement that could affect oil prices, either up or down, about 20 minutes beforehand, there are people who set up positions, like opening a short, and when the price actually drops, they just sweep up the profits. Whether it's tens or hundreds of billions, that's how much money we're talking about. If it happened just once, you might call it a coincidence. But there are people who have come out and said they've seen it happen 3 times already. Just listen to them.
That last part is just a jumble of words and doesn't make any sense. Almost like someone mashed the keyboard. There's also a bit at the end that says president and some other random English words, but it doesn't form a coherent sentence.
So I think what we should try to understand about today's situation in the market is that it's not just like, hey, if a war breaks out, whether the fighting intensifies or there's a ceasefire, or whether the situation opens up or closes down, what will happen? But what we really need to understand is, if the situation keeps opening and closing, then closing and opening again like this, how will the market react? Or is this just one of the strategies to make the market bounce, create excitement and surprise all the time, so that there are loopholes for managing positions, trading, and making profits? Like I said, they don't let the war just happen and unfold naturally like regular war news around the world. When things get really intense and the market keeps dropping, as soon as people start to get used to it and adapt, the market will bounce back on its own. They don't let it play out like that because it's not as fun and doesn't make as much money. Like I said, if you've been following along, we really can't trust any of Uncle Donald Trump's decisions. And now that we know this, I'm not saying Uncle Donald Trump is crazy or anything. Honestly, he might actually be a genius in his own way. So please don't let the various numbers that result from the official decisions of the President of the United States of America fool you. One very specific number in particular that I really want to talk about today is the current market price of crude oil. Because the global oil price, like Brent crude oil price, the one you can just Google and find instantly, is that really the actual price? Is that really the price? Or in reality, is the so-called paper oil price just a tool that deceives us into thinking everything is perfectly fine, right? Because the paper oil price, it can suddenly drop just from a decision by President Donald Trump. But the price of what's called physical oil can't do that. It shouts directly into the faces of those who actually need to use real oil. Let me tell you, at this moment, only people who are really in the industry, those who need oil to, say, send ships out, manufacture products, or run real factories, only they will say, oh, I get it. Let's start by looking at this Wall Street Journal headline. It asks, oil price $33 per barrel versus $99 per barrel. So which one is real? Let's look at this chart. Just a quick glance and you'll get it. This chart shows the price of Brent crude oil, comparing the price of paper oil with the price of actual physical oil. How different are they, really? In the first half of the chart, you can see that these two lines pretty much follow each other closely. Not much difference. Maybe just $1 or $2 apart. Or, during a real crisis, the gap might be around $5. But when the Iran war happened, bam, it hit this line. It looks like the price of paper oil and the price of physical oil really split apart. And right now, they're pretty far apart too. $133, which is the price of Tisco oil, versus $99 for paper oil. That's a $34 difference. Quite a lot. It's a lot. If we look back in history, someone actually made this chart. It was JP Morgan. Let's look back over the past 20 years. You'll see that the price difference between paper oil and Tisco oil wasn't that big. Like I said, normally the gap is about $1 or $2, which is normal. Or during a bit of a crisis, it might be around $5. This gap is called the spread. The last time we saw a bigger spread was during COVID, because back then people weren't shipping goods across countries, right? So that led to a lack of demand for oil, which is what we call a demand collapse. At that time, the spread became quite wide. It even went negative. Oh, and another thing, this line here, the spread, it widened to $15 when Russia attacked Ukraine. Food prices went up, and most recently, the last bar, wow, it's really long and stands out. That's the current situation. This is the spread, the difference between paper oil and real oil. This is the most significant and monumental difference in history, because what happened is called a supply emergency. Basically, the world's oil supply essentially vanished into thin air. So if you just Google the crude oil price, just the global oil price, it could be listed at just about any price. It might be $90, but when it comes to actual delivery, when they really sell and have to physically load that oil onto a massive cargo ship, that price isn't the real one. The actual price you have to pay when loading it onto the ship could be $120, $130, $140, $150, or even as high as $160 per barrel. Just listen to this for yourself.
$19 per barrel. The light crude oil, the good stuff, is at $121. The one they want, the one they opt for, the sexy one, that's the one they want now.
This information, as of April 16th, shows an updated price. The actual delivery price of oil in Singapore has soared to as high as $210. Or, for example, in Sri Lanka, it has shot up to as much as $286 per barrel. And that means as long as the war isn't over and things keep opening and closing like this, the price of paper oil can be anything. It all depends on the decisions of the US leadership, right? But the price of the actual oil that people really use, aren't you going to ask how the war could end? Well, there are only a few ways, right? For example, one side could completely destroy the other. That would probably end it. Or through negotiations. But negotiations would mean that both sides willingly agree to a permanent ceasefire. It's not like one side just declares victory and that's it. That doesn't mean it's over. Even if the White House celebrates or the stock market hits an all-time high or whatever, if it's not over, it's just not over. So the question is, well, is the current energy crisis that's about to happen really that serious? At this point, I want to recommend that everyone keep up with the situation by having a set of numbers in mind to help you follow along. When you follow the situation, you should definitely keep this specific set of numbers in mind. The key number to track in this situation is actually not that difficult to guess. It's the total amount of oil that passes through the Strait of Hormuz each day. That's about 20%, or roughly 1/5 of all the liquid oil consumed across the entire world. Now, you might want to know if there's a more precise number than that. So the real question we need to ask is, how much oil does the world use per day to keep the entire global economy running at full capacity? It's about 100 million barrels per day. Eric Nadel, a manager of an oil fund, recently shared a post on social media that the complete shutting down of the Hormuz Strait would remove about 8 to 13 million barrels of oil per day from the global supply. And he also said, just imagine if the Hormuz Strait were closed. If it were closed for about 2 months, that would mean the world would lose around 780 million barrels of oil supply, which is a huge amount. Just keep that number in mind for now. Next, some people might ask, is losing 8 to 13 million barrels of oil per day from the global supply really that serious? Because honestly, ever since the war broke out and people started saying, oh, there's going to be an energy crisis, it hasn't been that exhausting, right? Sure, the energy crisis has made energy more expensive, which is quite a lot, but we still have energy to use anyway. So if it were really going to get worse, how bad could it actually get? Let me explain it like this. You could call the period from the very first day the war started up until just a little while ago a false alarm. Do you know why? Because ever since the war began, the world still had Oil was still being shipped through the Strait of Hormuz, prepared for delivery to its final destinations. So when exactly will the real crisis actually hit? The real crisis will start once the last shipment of oil has been delivered to different nations across the globe. And when that last batch of oil is finally used up, countries will have to start relying on and tapping into their strategic reserves. There's information currently showing that the last oil tanker to leave Hormuz for delivery departed, on which specific day, and when the final delivery is scheduled. This information comes directly from the experts at JP Morgan. For the United States, the last tanker that left Hormuz to deliver oil to the U.S. actually did so on April 8th. For Europe, the last delivery was recorded on April 11th. For Southeast Asia, which is the region where we are located, the last tanker arrived on April 18th. For the continent of Australia, the last delivery, April 19th. As for the African continent, the last tanker from Hormuz to deliver there was on April 10th. There are still a few other regions left because the last ship that was allowed to leave the Strait of Hormuz was on February 28th, and that ship is scheduled to arrive at its destination on April 20th. This means that when the war broke out, we weren't immediately affected because there was still that very last ship. Hadn't delivered the goods yet. So once the last ship arrives and we've used up all the oil from that last shipment, then it's every man for himself. The next question is, who will be hit the hardest? Let's take a look at who the major customers of oil from the Persian Gulf are. Many people already know. It's Asia. The Asian region is the customer for 80% of the oil exported through the Strait of Hormuz. So what's the situation like in each country? Let's start with the Philippines, because it's the first country to declare a national emergency after domestic energy prices doubled overnight. As for Indonesia and Vietnam, they've now told people to work from home to save energy. In Thailand, there's news that the fishing industry has been hit really hard. Seafood is probably going to get very expensive because the cost of fuel for fishing boats has already gone up by about 30%. In Japan, they've announced that they will release the country's emergency oil reserves, which will be the largest release of emergency oil reserves in Japan's history. As for India, which has to import up to 50% of its natural gas, has now announced that they are starting to experience supply shortages. And Australia, which has the lowest emergency oil reserves among developed countries, has also announced that they are going to release as much as 765 million liters of their emergency oil reserves. Meanwhile, in the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, has encouraged member states to reduce their energy consumption. Because Ursula von der Leyen said that the cheapest energy is the energy that is not used. And let me tell you, closing the Strait of Hormuz doesn't just end with an energy crisis or just an oil crisis, because if nothing can be exported through there, it also means fertilizers can't be exported. Right now, fertilizer prices are skyrocketing. And if anyone says, oh, Thailand is the rice bowl of the world, so we should be fine. Yes, Thailand is the rice bowl, but we're not the fertilizer bowl. Without fertilizer, farmers will be able to produce less food. And it's not just in Thailand. This applies worldwide. Even India, the world's largest rice exporter, would face problems without fertilizer. I've already explained this in detail in the video about the Hormuz bottleneck and the food crisis. This means that if the impact of this war escalates to the next level, it will directly squeeze the global population, causing shortages of both energy and food. It's no longer just an economic or financial game. So what about the United States? What's their situation like? Let's take a look at America's oil reserves. As you can see from this chart, before the Iran war, the United States had domestic oil reserves of about 600 to 700 million barrels. These reserves had been accumulated over decades. But once the war in Iran broke out, it caused America's oil reserves dropped sharply. As you can see, the reserves have decreased significantly, which could potentially lead to a crisis. So I looked back at history to see if there had been any previous energy crisis. I'm going to compare 3 crises for you. Let's start with 1973, the Arab oil embargo. At that time, the world's oil supply dropped by 7%. Oil prices shot up by 300%. Stocks plunged by 52%, and inflation peaked at 12.3%. And it took 7 years to recover. Do you remember the numbers I asked you to remember from that set? So in 1973, during that energy crisis, the world lost just 7% of its oil supply. Now, moving on to 1990, the Gulf War caused another 7% drop in the world oil supply. Oil prices surged by 75%, stocks fell by 21%, and inflation peaked at 6%. But that time, things were a bit better. The recovery only took 4 months. Now, in 2026, the global oil supply has dropped by as much as 15 to 20%. That's much more than both of the previous crises, more than double, right? This has caused oil futures prices to already rise by 100%, and actual oil prices have gone up by 200% compared to before the war. As a result, inflation has peaked at to be confirmed. The recovery period is also to be confirmed. So you might ask, hey, then why has the market bounced back? All-time high. It might actually be genuinely good. Who knows? But if we compare it to history, let's look at 1973. After the embargo was announced, the S&P 500 actually went up, rising by 2.3%. And after the ceasefire was declared in October 1973, people thought the worst was probably over. But after that, the market dropped another 40%. About to. And another thing that's likely, something that's basically shouting at us that the market just can't take it anymore, is the government bond market. Because right now, bond yields have gone up so much. To put it simply, in the bond market, when bond yields are high, it means the interest the government has to pay to borrow money is higher. And public debt, every country has a lot of it, especially the United States. Right now, the public debt has gone up to almost 40 trillion. In the United States, just a 1% increase in interest rates or bond yields means billions. $1 billion, in fact. Ever since the war started, the credibility of major economies has really taken a hit because the 10-year bond yields have gone up across the board. Whether it's the US, the UK, or Japan, their bond yields have all risen individually, except for China. China's bond yields have actually gone down since the war began. What does that mean? It means that while borrowing costs are rising in other countries, China is moving in the opposite direction. Their borrowing costs are lower. If you look at it purely from an economic perspective, when borrowing costs are low, people are more willing to take out loans to start businesses, right? Meanwhile, in countries where borrowing costs are high, not only are people less likely to borrow to grow the economy, but their existing debt also becomes an even bigger burden. It eats away at both income and profits. So let me ask the next question. Why did America start this war anyway? Because if you look at it, America's also affected, right? From the disruption in energy flow or even financially. Because the credibility of US government bonds has gone down, bond yields have gone up, interest rates have gone up, and financial costs have increased. So why did Donald Trump do it? China focuses on trade, and for them to keep moving forward successfully, their costs have to stay low. That's how they became the world's factory. That means if energy becomes expensive, China won't be a low-cost country anymore. So restricting the flow of energy, which basically means preventing China from getting cheap energy, can really hurt China. Have you noticed that the countries being targeted, like Venezuela and Iran, are the ones willing to sell cheap oil to China? And not only do they sell it cheap, but they also accept yuan as payment. They were hit first. The goal seems to be to prevent China from accessing cheap oil and from buying oil with yuan, because that would undermine the petrodollar. And by doing this, China is forced to pay higher costs, which drains its foreign reserves. This is all done to slow down China's economy, so they don't have to compete in AI, or in high technology, or in the race to see who will dominate the world. And on the days when the US stock market is lush and hitting all-time highs, if you look at another chart, you'll see that things are actually moving in opposite directions. Not just opposite, but completely diverging. Compared to consumer confidence, as measured by the University of Michigan, from this chart, we can choose which sentiment to believe: the sentiment of Wall Street with its all-time highs, or the sentiment of Main Street, the people actually living their lives out there, who right now don't trust the market at all. And honestly, who knows what could happen? Tomorrow, they might announce a ceasefire for 2 days, or say the Hormuz Strait is open. Then in the afternoon, say it's closed again. Then someone might say, oops, we're not firing anymore. And then suddenly say, go ahead, fire away. Stuff like that. It's possible. You could say that right now. No one really knows what's going on in President Donald Trump's mind, or how his decisions will affect the numbers on paper in the market. But what is certain in the real world is that bond yields have already shot up, fertilizer prices have already surged, and the spread between paper oil prices and real oil prices has already widened dramatically. These are the facts that have already happened. And even if he changes his mind and does a complete 180, maybe he can change what's on paper, but he might not be able to change reality. So what should we do? Should we get ourselves prepared? If we get ready and nothing happens, it might just be a funny story, like, hey, remember that time I stocked up on so much stuff and got my finances all sorted out? But who really knows? And if something does happen, what we've prepared might actually mean the difference between surviving or not. That's fine, right?